how's it going?
Hello.
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 What is this? Podcast number 3 or 4?
Oh, oh,
4.
Three with
Yay!
you and four with everyone.
Oh, it's
yeah.
okay. This is an exciting week because we have a very exciting topic to discuss. Today we're going to be talking about a film that we love by a woman director. Okay, so this is actually a very interesting topic, and maybe we're a few days late in discussing this topic since Women's Day just passed, but it's okay. Every day is Women's Day, and we can celebrate women directors and artists all year long. So I think it's a good enough day to do it. So how shall we start? Who wants to start first?
I think because we are women and it's Women's Day, so the guy should finish first and we should do last.
True, done. Men
Okay.
first.
Yeah, men first this time.
Good idea.
Okay, sure. Okay, yeah. So I'll start. And so my pick for this would be Meghna Gulzar's Filal. So Filhal was Meghna Gulzar's directorial debut. It released in March 2002. And it was, it's one of my all-time favorite films because, it focused on a very, it's still regarded as a taboo topic. Coincidentally, it also had taboo. So the topic which the film focuses on is surrogacy, so which is very rarely discussed upon. So that's why this film was, very special and very unique to me. And apart from that, this film has, or I think it's one of the rare films that has Tabu and Sushmita Sen in it together. So that's why it's very special. And apart from that, the male lead actors were also good, Sanjay Suri and Palash Sen. And I think Palash Sen hasn't acted in any other film apart from this. So one of the other reasons that I like this film, that Meghna was, the screenplay was quite blunt in this film. I mean, there is a few spoilers ahead, not total spoilers, but slight spoilers. There is a woman played by Tabu, which has a miscarriage in this film, and due to that, her friend, played by Sushmita Sen, volunteers to become a surrogate mother. So this forms the total crux of the film, that how she deals with surrogacy and how she deals with her soon-to-be husband, and how Tabu's husband, Sanjay Suri, deals with it, and how their family deals with it. So I personally really loved this film, and I think, almost 20 years have passed since this film was released, but I think it's more than ever relevant now. And I think people who do watch this, or films that are similar to this topic, like Vicky Donor, so they are able to understand how critical these issues are. So I personally really liked it, and I think on the eve of this Women's Week or Women's Day, it's quite a relevant and quite an important film, which I think not only women but also mature men should also watch and understand how critical these issues are. If
Right.
you
I'm a
guys have
fan
any
of
questions,
Meghna Gulzar, but I've not
yeah,
seen this movie. This is her
you
first
should.
movie, is it?
It's a debut
Yeah.
movie, yeah.
Nice. I should definitely watch it. I'm like actually a very big fan of Chapak and Talwar.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's an amazing. All these films are very good, very amazing. But all these, well, Chapak not, but Talwar is more of a thriller, and so is Razi. But Filal
Hmm.
is a very sensitive film,
Yeah.
because I don't think many will, specifically men, I guess, may not really relate to this. Women may
They'll
get quite
relate to it.
emotional and may relate to this.
Maybe they'll relate to it now because a lot of
Yeah,
conversations have been more open in society regarding this
true.
subject. But I agree with you. I think this film was like early 2000s or something, and back
Yeah.
then nobody even knew something like this existed. So yeah, it's a very sensitive film. It's very well done.
Okay.
Saki.
Yeah, I'll go. So I'm also going just like Sadek with. I'm also going with one of my favorite movies of all time, and this is a French movie called Travail by Claire Denis. It came out in 1999, and I think to talk about this movie in simple words is really hard, and it won't do the film justice. Um, it's like this: when you think of an abstract painting and you show it to 10 people, they kind of have a different interpretation of what the painting might mean, and
Hmm.
the movie is kind of similar. But if I have to talk about a premise, I would say it's like these French Legion troops or soldiers in Africa. So they're stationed in Africa. They have training sessions, and we follow two different lead characters. And yeah, I should probably stop at that and not go into further detail about the movie. But about the thematic aspect of the movie, I think, like I said, everyone will come up with a different interpretation. But to me, it sort of represents a very important theme, just like a movie like Fight Club, maybe. It deals with this toxic idea of toxic masculinity and male ego and how it leads to suppression of freedom and identity of a man, and even emotional repression in a man. So yeah, I think, like I said, the idea of different interpretations from a film or a painting, that is very well utilized in the medium of like how to convey in terms of filmmaking. And it is very interesting because considering these themes, a female filmmaker is dealing with a, even if you see the poster of the movie, it's just a shirtless guy standing. And that's really interesting to me because I think Claire Denis as a filmmaker or even a writer can see through the external facade that most of the times men put up. It's mostly how superficial it is.
Hmm.
And it's yeah, I don't know, it's really important how a female is dealing with issues related to men in the society. And from what I have seen, I think this is my favorite movie made by a female. Definitely a recommendation to anyone who has not seen it.
Do you know if it's available on any streaming platform?
I don't think it would be, but
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Mm. What's the name of the movie again?
About Travail, it translates to good work.
Okay.
Oh,
Very
Actually,
good.
actually, last year there was a 4K restoration of the movie to
Oh,
celebrate 20 years.
Oh,
oh wow.
So I
wow.
watched it the second time when the 4K came out, and probably you guys, if you can get a version of that somehow, and that'll be
Uh,
great. It should be, maybe it should be on Mubi, but I'm not sure. You have to
okay.
check with Mubi India.
So before I start and reveal my favorite movie by a female director, I would like to have some honorary mentions. So one is definitely Cargo by Aarti Kadav, who we did manage to touch base on last episode. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch that.
click
I
here.
will put the link in the description box below.
The other is Gauri Shinde, English for
Hmm.
English, and Dear Zindagi.
Dear Zindagi.
Marvelous two movies. Meghna Gulzar we've already covered. But one movie that I actually feel that hasn't been given enough credit is Monsoon Wedding by Meera Nair.
Oh yes, yes, amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant
Yeah.
Oh my
film.
god, yeah.
I think you
So
just touched everyone like a nerve there.
And I think this film also completes 20 years. I think this film.
exactly. So
It
it
was
had
released
released
in
way back in
2001, I
2001.
guess.
Exactly. Yeah. And so the subject of the movie is such that from the face of it, it's just like a typical Indian wedding that is happening with, a host of relatives which are coming in. But there are undercurrents and the complexities which actually make the movie a must watch. Let's reveal it. Okay. It's been 20 years. So the topic of child abuse
Hmm.
and pedophilia. All of that was tactfully covered in that movie, which was way ahead of its time. I mean, I don't see many movies being made even today because of on that topic. And look at that star cast.
Yeah.
Look at that star cast: Nasiruddin Shah, Rajat Kapoor, Randeep Hooda was just starting
Irfan,
off back then.
Uh,
Irfan wasn't. I don't remember Irfan being
no,
there, but
Irfan
Vijay
nahi,
Raj was there.
Randeep
And
Hooda.
Ram
and
Kapoor. If you remember,
Tilotama
Ram
Shom.
Kapoor.
Ram Kapoor,
Ram
Ram
yeah, he
Kapoor.
was
Kapoor was
so
there.
skinny
He was so slim. Yeah, I was about to say that.
yeah.
Tilotama Shom, who actually is being recognized as such a
Yeah.
wonderful actress. She actually was in Monsoon Wedding too. Chef Ali Shah.
Hmm.
So the star cast, Lilith Dubey, I could just go on and on. If it was released in today's OTT times, it would have been a super hit.
Yeah.
It was almost like Ram Prasad Ki Tervi, that sort of a star cast, which actually has an ensemble.
Hmm.
Actually, a bold move, and knowing Meera Nair and her body of work, she doesn't shy away. She doesn't take half-hearted approaches. She's unapologetic.
Hmm.
Okay, much like Alankrita Srivastav. If anything, a little less self-indulgent, probably, if I could say that. Not that
Hmm.
Alankrita is more self-indulgent, but she does get a little carried away with that subject. But not Meera Nair. Meera Nair. Even so, one honorary mention I forgot to mention was Deepa Mehta also. Fire, water. Um, so I don't know. So coming back to Monsoon Wedding, I mean, if you haven't watched it, I think it's there on YouTube as well. So I think you should totally watch it. It's been 20 years and the movie's still fresh. It
Yeah.
still stands the test of time.
Can I just
Uh,
add one thing? I feel like a film like Monsoon Wedding, for example, I, such kind of films, or even Filal actually, the fact that they're so simply done and they're so smooth in its runtime, I feel like that is one of the reasons why it's like everyone's favorite and it stays relevant for a long period of time. I don't know. I just realized that when you said that it's still relevant. It's been 20 years.
and
Yeah.
what I liked about that film, in the Monsoon Wedding, that the father was able to support that, when she put that allegation, that, I think Rajat Kapoor was the guy who was, that abusive and has been abusing that lady. So it was really good to see the family members supporting her because, if in our society, even till now, this child abuse or pedophilia, it's still considered a taboo, if
Yeah.
not in the cities or in the educated areas, but I think in the rural side, or specifically those people who are not that aware or educated, that child abuse and pedophilia is very serious.
I just add one last thing to it. Year 2001, that was there. I remember Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum releasing in December and it being a stalemate, absolute stalemate,
Yes,
because Lagan and Gadar had released in June, and totally
Yeah.
and even Dil Chahta Hai. That was the year of Dil Chahta Hai also, which had
yes, yes,
changed the
yes.
face of Indian cinema. But I somehow feel that Monsoon Wedding was also a part of that club, which still isn't being given enough credit for it, I feel.
Definitely, totally agree.
I just want to add one thing, and Tanya, you can definitely edit this out because it's very irrelevant to like the topic at hand. But Sadik, the thing that you said na about pedophilia or like child abuse and everything, and how they actually like in the West, for example, they use entertainment or films as a source of like educational material. This was a few years ago. I went to an event and Imtiaz Ali was like one of the panelists that people were like doing Q&As with. And what was really interesting is that Highway, the last scene of Highway, when Alia Bhatt breaks down and
Yes,
she's
yes,
confronting this uncle. Apparently, so there was this one lady in the audience and she stood up and she's like, I just want to thank you because she is actually a teacher who deals with victims of child abuse and also parents of abused children. And she's like, that scene itself is one scene that she shows every class and all over India whenever she goes for doing to do like these sessions and everything to normalize it or to educate people as to how to open a discussion. She's like, I open that class with that scene just so people feel comfortable that this happens and you should talk about it. And then Imtiaz Ali is like, you're like the, I don't know, 50th person who said that you used that scene from my film Highway to educate people. So I guess Indian films are also being utilized in a good manner.
it's awesome. Really, really good to know
Yeah.
that.
Awesome.
Yeah. You can edit this out.
No, I'm actually going to use it.
Okay.
I think it's relevant. It's quite important
Yeah,
also.
it is very
Okay.
important.
Okay. Acha, Tanya, you go.
Me? Okay. So I actually wanted to talk about fire. So Farhad mentioned it, but then
Mm.
I changed it, and there are two movies that I still want to mention that are by really good female directors. One is a German film called System Crasher, and one is Honey Boy, of course. So these are three movies that I want to mention before I start talking about the movie that I want to talk about.
Hmm.
So the movie that I'm talking about this time is called American Honey, and it is directed by Andrea Arland. No, sorry, Andrea Arnold, and it's a very young movie. It won the Cannes Jury Prize. So this movie has a lot of characters, and even this is a movie that is kind of on a social message. And but what I like about this movie is that the characters are very different. The energy of the movie is really, really nice. And the way it is shot, it looks like they shot a documentary. It's not like a scene movie. Because the way
Hmm.
it's shot, it's like what's happening in their life. And you're actually like if they're in a car and they're having a conversation while you're watching the movie, you feel it that you're in the car too. So that's what like really caught my attention with this movie. And yeah, I don't want to talk much because I think this movie that there are some movies where you can't talk much because you don't know what to say, but you still want to recommend people to watch it because it's that good. So I think this is one of those movies, and it's called American Honey.
American Honey. Okay.
Yeah,
Where is it available? Which OTT?
you'll have to stream it somewhere. Yeah. American Honey, directed by Andrea Arnold. Highly recommended.
Last but not the least, and I feel like you guys might hate me for this for picking a very mainstream choice, but this is the first thing that popped in my head when we decided to do this topic, so I'm going to stick with it. My film, it's not one of my favorite films, but it's from one of my favorite female directors, Zoya Akhtar. And it's Dil Dhadakne Do. She has other films that I obviously like as well, but as I said, this was the first one that popped in my head when we decided to make this video. Dil Dhadakne Do, reason being, it's about a dysfunctional family, and I think all of us can relate to that because we're Indian and dysfunctional family. So I really, really like the fact that even though the production was like larger than life and all of that, I think the emotions that were portrayed in the film from every different angle were very real. I do want to mention one scene which I absolutely love for the making of it, is towards the end when they think that Anil Kapoor has had a heart attack and he's sitting in the room, and Shefali Shah, she comes in and she's like sitting next to him and almost on the verge of like crying. And then Priyanka and Ranveer Singh, they come in, the kids obviously, and they start arguing. And then the in the very loud argument, Ranveer Singh screams कि कोई इस फैमिली में असली बात तो करता ही नहीं है, सब ऊपर ऊपर से बात करते हैं. And the reaction that Shefali Shah gives is like I
Oh,
can
that's
see my mom
relatable.
reacting that way. She's like, "Kya baat karni hai tumhe?" So
Yeah.
I think this film, yeah, I mean the film was real. It's very brown people family, so I loved it.
The strongest aspect of Zoya Akhtar, there are two strong aspects of Zoya Akhtar as a director. One is her writing, which she does herself, and the second is characterization.
Yeah.
She has amazing characters. You
Hmm.
can pick any film of hers, like
Yeah.
right from Luck by Chance or Gully Boy or Zindagi Na Milegi. There are distinct characters.
But the problem which I encountered after watching the film was, the first half of the film was quite a bit dragged and a bit too slow. Just before Farhan Akhtar comes, because the film picks the pace when Farhan Akhtar comes in the second half. Because that's where all the relevance and where the storyline cracks up. Then we got to know okay what is actually happening in this film. And the other that I had with the editing of this film was some of the songs, specifically the song "Phir Bhi Zindagi." They cut down that song. The song was not totally shown in that film because it's of actually 4 to 5 minutes, and they actually showed it of around 1.5 or 2 minutes. That was not more. So that was a few complaints that I had of this film. And I also remember that I expected this film to be a huge blockbuster, but unfortunately it was it wasn't a big hit, and it was not even critically. So I had huge expectations for this film. And but I would really appreciate that, due to the second half, specifically due to the performance of Farhan Akhtar and the speech that he gave to when he gave that shut up call to Rahul Bose. That
Yeah,
Yes.
is
yeah.
probably one of the most powerful scenes ever to come out of Bollywood. And specifically, when this woman, these women week, or which we have in Pakistan, Aurat March comes in. So we often share these, this scene which was done by Farhan Akhtar. That कि तुम permission दोगे. He
हाँ,
कौन होते
तुमने
हो permission?
allow किया.
Yeah, wonderful
हाँ.
scene.
Before we close, we forget this every time. Everyone watching should leave their favorite movies directed by females in the
Yeah,
comments, please.
please. Okay, we have less than
And
1 minute
also,
remaining, Nidhi.
Please
huh?
like, share, and subscribe to the
Yeah,
channel.
Yeah,
Please.
Like,
five
share,
minutes
subscribe.
remaining.
Tell us about your favorite films by women directors, and tell us about what you thought about our films. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.